Someone has just revealed some thoughts and comments by Kevin Feige about the quantum realm that possibly spoil future movies inside the MCU. We are breaking it all down. This is the Nerdy News Rundown. Let's get you filled in. Now, before we get into this video, I need to shout out Dale E69, who got the nerd card question correct in my news show from yesterday. You definitely know your stuff when it comes to Star Wars, so shout out to you, Dale, and we will, of course, do another nerd card question at the end of this video. So again, it's been kind of a slow news week, and so we're going to be talking about something today that was uncovered from a Marvel art book having to do with the quantum realm, a lot of speculation type stuff. But quickly, let's go over a few other Marvel stories before we get into that big topic. I wanted to let you guys know that there are countdowns out there online for both Spider-Man Far From Home and Avengers 4. You can Google these things. It's just basically websites that have live counters for when these films come out, counting down the days, the hours, the minutes, and the seconds until those movies release. So if you're like me and you're just anticipating the absolute hell out of these movies, perhaps you'll spend some quiet time just staring at the screen, watching the counters go down. These are kind of fun things just to kind of have a reference point for when the films are coming out, you know, just have these little countdown things out there. So I wanted to let you know that they are out there. Next up, and this is sort of a public service announcement, the Russo brothers are doing a live Q&A today on Twitter. Now, I gotta be honest, I'm not entirely sure how this is gonna work. I believe that they'll be live streaming, and I think it's just gonna be Joe of the Russo brothers, but they made this announcement on their Twitter, and people have been submitting questions already, and so if you can check this out live, it's gonna be at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would really recommend checking out that on Twitter if you can live, and if not, I will be doing a recap of all of the juicy details that the Russo brothers spill about Avengers 4 in a video, which will hit the channel later. And I'm just gonna have to decide, like, I might just go over this all on the show tomorrow, or I might do a bonus video later tonight. I'm not exactly sure. It's gonna depend on how crazy things get online, but definitely go check that out. Now let's get into some spoilery goodness for the future of the MCU, a la Kevin Feige. Recently, there was this awesome art book that just came out highlighting the first 10 years of the MCU. It's a really cool book. They also did an art book for Avengers Infinity War. So people are currently like deep diving on these things, picking out little details and bringing them to the light for all of us. Now, the most recent little morsel of information to blow up online all has to do with something Kevin Feige put into this book with regards to the quantum realm. So I want to read his comments here, and then we'll talk about what it means. And so, talking about the quantum realm and the impact it'll have on the future films, Kevin Feige writes in the book, at the end of Ant-Man, we follow Scott Lang into the quantum realm for the first time. We were beginning to peel back the onion that would later be completely peeled back in Doctor Strange as we go into the multiverse. So that was our little test into that. But now the quantum realm is a whole other territory that we can play with to tell our stories. This quantum realm is much larger than we ever imagined, and there are all sorts of adventures to be had at that level, which perhaps we will explore in another film. And so a couple of things jump out to me. I mean, first of all, this is just something that we continue to hear from Kevin Feige, the fact that they sort of test things out within their movies to see how audiences respond so that they can kind of give themselves the go-ahead to do something even crazier later. So introducing the quantum realm and then the multiverse in Doctor Strange, and then having that be accepted by fans allows them to do even crazier stuff. Now, you could consider the comments here in this book kind of talking about Avengers 4. I mean, we're all pretty darn sure that the quantum realm is going to play a big role in Avengers 4. A lot of different actors have spoke to this, the writers, the directors, everybody. I mean, it's pretty obvious we're going into the quantum realm, or the quantum realm is going to have something to do with how the Avengers defeat Thanos. However, when you take these comments by Kevin Feige and you add in the fact that Michael Douglas recently spoiled that he believes that the quantum realm is going to play a large role in the stories of all the Marvel characters in their next chapter, we start to get a whole new picture here. It is starting to feel like the quantum realm will be a storytelling device that will allow Marvel to tell some very interesting, crazy things. Let's just say that in Avengers 4, they introduce the quantum realm and they introduce multiple realities to the audiences. Could there then be a scenario after Avengers 4, where some of our characters go to other realities and we have movies that are not based in the main continuity reality of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, what is really interesting about this possibility is it actually falls in a line with a big theory that Al Schuler and myself have been working on. I've been teasing this video series with you guys. This is something that we're going to nail down very soon. By the way, Al, I totally need to call you. Just been a crazy week, my man. My bad. But yeah, so Al and I are working on this crazy theory where we will spell out what we are thinking. But this story about this little passage that Kevin Feige wrote in this book kind of solidifies the theory that Al and I have. Now, without giving too much of the juiciness of those videos away, Al and I definitely believe that it is possible that Marvel will set other stories in the future of the MCU in different realities. Now, this can manifest itself in a multitude of different ways. One could be elseworlds, okay? So what elseworld stories are famously in comic books are sort of putting a new twist on an old lemon of sorts. Some of my favorite elseworlds have to do with Superman, like, for instance, Red Sun, where instead of the capsule with Superman landing in Kansas, it lands in Russia, and he's a Russian hero. And another example of this is where he lands on Darkseid and is trained to be a villain in the army of Darkseid. Now, classically, I love elseworld stories, and I think Marvel has sort of earned the right to actually tell some of these stories in other fashions and perhaps play around with elseworld versions of characters. But that's not exactly what I think they are doing, but it is a possibility. Now, another way in which these comments by Michael Douglas and Kevin Feige can sort of intersect would have to do with different villains coming from the quantum realm. A lot of people have been talking about Annihilus as a potential villain, maybe even teasing him in Avengers 4, but having him be a main villain past that. And he comes from a place called the Negative Zone. And a lot of people are thinking, well, maybe the quantum realm is going to be the negative zone in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's also the possibility for like a character like Kang the Conqueror to come out of the quantum realm, because this is a character that uses time travel and that technology to go to different realities, different points in time. That could be very interesting as well. And so on the surface, these comments by Kevin Feige probably hint towards Avengers 4, but when you add the comments in by Michael Douglas, it starts to become clear that we could be seeing a very weird scenario play out for our main MCU heroes after Avengers 4. This could include them being in different dimensions, different timelines where there are different things going on. This could include elseworld versions of the characters we've already met. And I guess the big question here is, do you think casual audiences will be able to accept such changes? Will this be something that we can actually follow if Phase 4 becomes a scenario where there are elseworlds, where there are characters existing in different realities, and eventually they all merge together in something like a Secret Wars? Would this be something you think casual audiences would be okay with? I mean, the thing about the MCU is that it's been like nerdy as hell, and it keeps just getting nerdier and sort of pushing that nerdy envelope. Having them do the snap is absolutely crazy, and I do think they're going to introduce this idea of multiple realities in Avengers 4. Is that enough table setting to get people to deal with multiple realities in the next of the series of films? And so that is the news out there, guys. Newly discovered comments by Kevin Feige give us a little bit more context about how important the quantum realm is. When you add in the Michael Douglas comments, it really starts to feel like Phase 4 is going to be really weird and have a lot to do with the quantum realm and perhaps different times and realities. The question is, do you think that is okay? Are you a fan of this? Are you not? Do you think casual audiences will accept it? That's what I want to know. Let's have a conversation about this in the comment section below. Now let's check that nerd card before we get out of here. I want to know, what is the name of the trait that actually makes mutants mutants? Of course, it's a mutation, but what is the name of the trait on the genetic level that makes mutants mutants? Answer that question in the comment section below. The Den of Nerds is independent media. We rely on support from people like you to continue to be doing this show and to expand the content into other interesting places. Consider checking out our Patreon or checking out some of the merchandise to take your support to the next level. But if you don't have any loot, just drop a like on this video, share it with somebody who likes nerdy things. That kind of stuff goes a long way. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and nerdy day, and I will see you in the next video. I got some good ones coming, I'm telling you.